In this video, we're going to take a look at how to organize your resources in Moodle. When using Moodle, the most important thing to keep in mind is your learner. I have an example here, sample unit 1, where I've added some material that I might want my students to use. I've got Word documents, PowerPoints, website, flip chart, Excel docs, but they're not in any kind of order, and they're not separated or organized in any kind of meaningful way. This can be an obstacle for your students, so we want to remove that. We're going to take a look at how to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn editing on. When I turn editing on, I'm going to go to add a resource. And the resource that I'm going to add is called a label. Okay. Now, a label, as we talked about before, is just a way for you to add some content in your Moodle course, kind of like a wildcard, if you will. You can pretty much put whatever you want in a label. In this case, I'm just going to call this Word Documents. Okay, just Word Docs. Scroll down, click Save and Return to Course. One thing to note about Moodle is whenever you add a resource or anything to a particular unit, it's going to put it in at the bottom. Notice my Word doc text showed up here at the bottom of this particular unit. So I'm going to click on the crosshairs and move this item to the top. Next thing I'm going to do is take all of my Word documents and move them up. Notice when I do this, there's a gray line that appears. It's going to tell me where the document's going to land if I were to release a left click. And again, I'm doing this by left clicking on the crosshairs, moving the resource to where I want it to be, and letting it go. And I'll do this with the remaining Word docs. Okay. Once I do this, I want to indent my resources, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and continue adding a couple more labels. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and move this up to where I want it to be, which is right underneath that Word document. But if you look at it, this Word document resource is kind of close to that PowerPoint resource. Okay, visually it can be a little confusing, so we want to put some space in between this resource right here and this text. Okay, to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click Edit. Oops. Okay, and instead of having this at the very top, all I'm going to do is put my cursor in front of the first word and click Enter. And when I do that, it's going to create a space right here. So now I'll have a space above and below this text. Click Save and Return to Course. And I'm going to go ahead and move my PowerPoints up to where this would go. Add my next label. Okay. Now this time I'm just going to hit Enter once. Put my text in. Save and return to course. Again, I need to move my resource up here. Right there. Okay, go in. And I'll add one more. I want to add a lot of different labels and content so you kind of get a feel of why this is important to lay this out this way. Okay, now I'm going to make sure I have my resources indented. Okay. And let's turn editing off so you can see what it looks like. There we are. So this is how to organize material within a unit. I'm using labels, and I'm just indenting the item and sorting them underneath the label. This is going to be a lot clearer for your students and make using your course easier. One thing to note, I just went with a simple plain black text, didn't change the font or anything like that, but you can feel free to do that. One thing I would suggest is don't make this label larger than your main unit heading. Another way to think of this is kind of like you're creating a table of contents, where this would be the largest, this would be second, this would be third, and this would be slightly indented. And this has been how to organize content within your Moodle.